kirei de sweet, ide spicy. Na the food where I like past, all the time where I be picking. Na my papa in the la, she de bring them card.
Juwon, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. How's things?
Thank you. All right, thank you. And you?
Very good, thank you. I understand that we're sort of in your neck of the woods at the moment. Is that true?
Oh yes, very much so. I've lived in this area for a couple of decades, but I was also born in North London, so it's very much my manor.
Speaking of manners, sort of culturally, what's your original heritage? Where are you from?
Nigeria, of the Yoruba heritage. My mother was from Ogun State and my father from Osun State. I wasn't born in Nigeria, I was born in London. And,
right.
I lived with English foster parents as a child, while my parents were students. And in that time, I was exposed to a lot of music. And then when I went to live in Nigeria, I also was exposed to a lot of music. As I got older, I enjoyed like the classical singing, and I always wanted to learn art songs, as in songs that are sung in classical recitals and that sort of thing. And I was a soloist at school in choirs, and I did various things like that. So there was always an interest in the classical singing.
In the classical scene.
Yeah, sure.
So it's you really have come up in the classical background from a really young age.
Yes, but not in the same sort of route as, say, somebody who would have been born, say, in the home counties in England. In Nigeria, things were not quite the same, even though there's a Nigerian sort of classical music scene, which I suppose I was part of, yes.
Talk to me a little bit about your training. I understand you went to the Guildhall School of Music, is that right?
Yes, I went to Guildhall School of Music and Drama, where I did a course called sort of Performance and Communication Skills, which is about like musicians being diverse in their skills, broadening their sort of palette, as it were, for expressing themselves. The basis for the music in Guildhall was very much the European, Western, stroke American, stroke whatever, basically Caucasian model of arts music. Whereas, as an African, as a black person, it's important to me that I'm expressing that sort of eloquence of that type of music with the virtuosity, or as in like being dexterous, being able to eloquence is the word I would use. All of that stuff is important, but it's also important to do it from a black perspective, an African perspective, and to be even more localized, maybe a Yoruba perspective.
What is the process of performing like for you on a personal level?
Well, I guess people start from the point that they love to express themselves emotionally through making sounds, which is basically what musicians do.
Right.
But beyond that, it becomes a thing of telling stories or sort of hitting the spot for emotions that people might feel and being able to zone in onto that. And so that becomes the challenge that you deal with, sort of understanding how those notes that you sing or play are one thing, but what lies behind them is equally important, if not more important.
So excited to be speaking to you about your performances, but I know you're also an accomplished composer as well. Really looking forward to chatting with you more about that. So let's get comfortable in the park.
Okay, cool.
You also compose as well. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that.
I could always hear tunes in my head from when I was little.
Okay.
Going to school, coming back from school, whatever. So like, I guess when someone composes or creates music, it's usually because, well, your soul sings to you somehow. And so with me, there was always that, and eventually it became something more formalized, that I wanted to do the things and remember them and perform them. And I did, and gradually that whole thing evolved.
What side of composing do you enjoy the most? For what medium do you really enjoy sort of attacking and getting into?
I wouldn't say there's any one particular one that I enjoy the most, but I would say that the one that maybe inspires me to be most colourful and vivid, maybe, is composing for the stage.
Why do you feel that is?
Because there's something about the heightened emotional expression of drama that speaks to me, I suppose. I mean, maybe it's something I sort of find natural to do, because I mean it's the same thing that makes me want to perform. I was an acting singer, really, that's what it is. An opera singer is more of an acting singer. So I would say, yeah, that same quality that drives me to be interested in characterization, and all of that.
Story and plot.
Yes.
It is sweet, it is spicy.
I mean, the song I know best is Dodokiri. Specifically about that song, can you remember the mindset and your goals and your hopes for that song at the time? I mean, quite simply, why did you write it?
Well, I remember Dodokiri as as somebody that wasn't born in Nigeria and then went to live there, like maybe when I was about 9 or 10. Like the whole thing of children and enticements and the things that they found attractive, like, you know, like in England it would be sweets and crisps and popcorn and whatever.
Right.
Like in Nigeria, there were certain things as well, like chin chin or whatever. But the point was Dodokiri was something different, because like my father was from, always on Arauke in the Yoruba sense. He's from like past Ibadan, up that way anyway.
Right.
And my grandmother, his mother, would come with this stuff. And so it was like a special treat, yeah? So that was a kind of a symbol to me of that excitement of innocence of childhood in that context. But then I sort of put that together with the mindset of my father's family, well, culturally, which was something that was in a way alien to what I'd already known from before that.
Right.
And I guess the bringing together of that thing, there's this attractive thing about their way of being, this Dodokiri. And the fact that, well, I like that part, but I don't want all of it, you know. And then what that means in the transaction between me and people of that part of my heritage,
Yeah.
you know. And so this issue of like approval goes with Dodokiri, and so if people don't approve, it's no longer there.
It's been such an absolute pleasure speaking to you, and I personally hope that you go from strength to strength. I think the position you hold in our community is so important, and like I say, it's a real pleasure talking to you.